Hi, I'm Marcus Hutzel, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about mic level versus line level when it comes to audio signals, and hopefully clear up any confusion you might have. Over the years in my work with concerts, weddings, and corporate audio, I've heard a great deal of mostly young and beginning audio technicians, but also some seasoned audio personnel talking about the difference between mic level and line level, and they are confused. So I'm hopefully going to simplify it for you in just 1 second. And more importantly, most of the time, instead of hearing people asking about the difference and being able to describe both, I've just run into so many people that just do not know the difference between mic level versus line level in the audio world. And I hear these same people try to explain it, but they can't, or they're just giving a completely wrong interpretation of the difference. And that causes so many issues when it comes to setting up your gain structure in your audio system, whether it applies to your mixer in your own home studio or a live mixer and speakers in a large event space like a hotel ballroom or meeting room or even a concert hall. So what's the difference in mic level versus line level? The answer is voltage level, AC, alternating current, electrical voltage. And that's it. Line level is just more voltage than mic level. So if line level voltage sits here, then mic level voltage is just a lot lower and sits down here. Mic level signal is just less voltage than line level, and therefore will need to be boosted by something like a preamp before it can be properly utilized by electronic audio equipment. If you want to understand everything just a bit more, then please keep watching. But the most simple and accurate answer again is that mic level signal is just lower voltage and therefore a lower level running through audio cables than a line level signal. Line level signal is a hotter signal because it's running through those cables at a higher voltage level. I'm going to keep saying that so you get it straight in your head. And remember that we're talking about standard AC voltage, alternating current electricity, just like your home electricity, kind of. But this voltage is actually generated by the audio signals themselves coming from a microphone or another piece of audio equipment. So remember that audio levels and the related voltages are way, way, way lower than standard household electricity. Same technology, alternating current, but audio signals won't electrocute you. For example, your household electricity is running at about 120 volts alternating current in the US, whereas line level audio signals run at around 0.775 volts or even around 1 volt, and can range up to about 12 volts maximum, so near 1 volt. That's 120 times less than the standard wall power, which is why it can't electrocute you. And mic level signals run way lower than line level signals, so it's a lot less than 1 volt, actually, fractions of volts. So 120 volts from your wall outlet versus around 1 volt from your audio equipment. This is why we can pick up a male end of an active XLR cable with audio signal coming down it and touch the pins. You'll never feel it or be affected by it since it's only passing around 1 volt of electricity. So don't be scared of it, but it is AC voltage. And that's a good segue into audio voltage levels and where line level sits versus where mic level sits. So again, remember that all audio signal is AC voltage running through the cable, running through your mixer, and into your amps or speakers. It's all AC voltage. That's how preamps, equalizers, compressors, and speakers all work. They're electronics, and they need electrical voltage to operate. For the whole mic versus line issue, again, line levels for audio equipment simply run at a higher voltage than mic level signal. Line level signal usually sits near that 1 volt of electricity, give or take about 0.75 volts in either direction, above or below 1 volt, because, as you should know, audio signals aren't always constant, like my voice. The level moves up and down, and therefore the electrical signal or voltage running through the cable moves up and down as well. And line levels can go up to about a maximum of 12 volts when you hit plus 24 dBu, but as long as it sits near 0.775 volts or 1 volt, it's considered line level. Whereas mic level is just a lot lower than 1 volt. Remember that, because that's how I always explain it to people. Mic level is just a lot lower signal or lower voltage than line level. Are you getting this through your head yet? Because I'm going to keep on saying it. And when we talk about voltage levels in audio equipment, it's rarely discussed in terms of voltage like I'm using now. Usually you'll see or hear audio equipment and signals in terms of dB, or more specifically dBu. More on that later, or check out this other video. But all dBu is a way to talk about audio signal levels instead of talking about electrical voltage, where a certain number on the dB scale refers to a specific amount of voltage. And remember that each type of dB scale refers to different levels of voltage. So dBu and dBV both refer to voltage levels, but they don't start at the same place, so always pay attention to your dB scale and the letters that follow the letters D and B. For instance, dBu, dBV, dBFS, dBSPL. Make sure you pay attention to the letter that follows dB. But for the most part, when we're talking audio, we're referring to dBu. So for mic level, depending on the source, like a microphone, you'll see the level being sent is usually described as something around -60 to -40 dBu, which equates to an AC voltage level of 0.00219 volts for -60 dBu, up to about 0.0219 for -40 dBu. And those aren't the same. Notice the extra zero in the -60 dB signal, 0.00219 or 0.002 volts for -60 dB versus 0.02 volts for -40 dB. But still, both of these values sit well below line level, so they are in the mic level range. And those aren't the only two mic levels, they're just examples. Remember, it's just a range, since every microphone and audio signal will have a different and varying level of output, and therefore voltage level coming out of them and into the next piece of equipment in the chain. So generally, I always think of it as if something that's coming in or sending a signal of about -20 to -30 dB at its loudest level, then it's in the mic level range. And I need to do something to it to compensate for it, like running it through a preamp that's designed to take a mic level signal up to line level, or making sure it goes into an input that is expecting a mic level signal. So it's really very simple. Just remember that mic level is a lot lower voltage or lower signal than line level. It all boils down to electrical AC voltage moving through the cables. Minute amounts of voltage that won't harm you, but it is just electricity. Also, I've heard a few people here and there try to describe it or think that it's a difference in impedance between mic level versus line level, and that has nothing to do with it at all, because impedance is determined by and only a product of the physical material that a signal is traveling through, like an XLR cable, which is copper on the inside, or an input on the circuitry of a mixer or other processing device. The signal itself cannot have inherent impedance, only the material it's trying to travel through. You can only impede electricity by placing something in its path that either slows it down or stops it. Copper wire has a much lower impedance to electricity than, say, a piece of wood, so electricity travels through copper very fast, and conversely, the wood has a very high impedance to electricity, so the electricity won't flow through wood because the wood stops it, or rather just doesn't carry it. So taking the same amount of electrical voltage into two different materials determines the overall impedance of the signal chain, not the voltage itself. But I digress. So when you're trying to describe this difference to someone, or if you're trying to wire up an audio system, pay attention to, number one, the stated and expected level of the equipment, both the inputs and outputs on that equipment. And oftentimes it will only say mic or line and not always state the dB or voltage range. Just know to look for the words mic or line, and that's a good place to start. And number two, just remember that mic level is less AC voltage than line level. I hope I've drilled that into your head during this video. Line level, mic level. And I think that's it for the basic mic level versus line level discussion. Keep it simple. Good luck. Have fun. It's hard to say my own name. Hutzel, 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 Hutzel. It's hard to say Hutzel, 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 Hustle, Hutzel, Hutzel, Hutzel. I've always had a hard time saying my own name. I should probably get used to that. Hi, I'm Marcus Hutzel. Let's see if we can get this done in under 20 minutes. Let's do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. From the top, from the top.